Welcome to the Nerd Cave News. I am one of your hosts, Zach Dykes, joined along with the man on the trail, hunting down the story no matter where it takes him, Merd Purtle with WERK Work News 5. Merd with the word.
So everybody knows about the merd. That's good. That exposition was great. At first, I thought I was like going to be a legitimate like hunter, like Wabbit season, hunter or whatever. But then you're like, oh, I'm a news hunter. I'm like, that's even better because I am the news guy.
From WERK Work.
Work.
Yeah. So Merd with the word. You know what? This episode is brought to you by our wonderful patrons. You can become part of the ship, part of the exclusive crew by going over to patreon.com/nerdcave, just like our wonderful crew members, the first mate, Brandon Hicks, the helmsman, the conductor, our gunners, Richard Newell, Daniel Sanford, Rushing Waters Yoga, Marilyn James, Brittany, the Granny B. Harrison, and our deckhand, Martin Sager. This is the Nerd Cave News, where each and every week, unless Derek's computer breaks, we run you through every news story that you need to know about all the video game news. You can watch us live over twitch.tv/nerdcave network on Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. or whenever it happens, or you can watch us later over on youtube.com/nerdcave network. Make sure to hit the follow, subscribe buttons so you don't miss out on anything. I like it so more people get to see the video. There's also an awesome podcast version that is available on Apple, Google, Spotify, Stitcher, and Anchor. Go subscribe and listen to it each and every week. While you're there, leave us a 5-star review. Now, Merd the word. Merd the word.
Yes, sir.
Merd the word.
Putting in that work at WERK.
Putting that work. Have you been working on that game club game?
Oh, you baby. Let me tell you. Let me spin you a tale. March was my go-in month, and the beginning of this month. Now, I am almost done. Like, I've got a few side missions left, but I've got one main mission left before I roll credits.
Okay.
Game is fantastic. Like, I've uncovered all the map, and it's like, oh my gosh. Like, it does slow down in some places, but I mean, like, for, like, gameplay-wise, because it's like, all right, you've unlocked everything new, but then, like, you do, like, the next to last story missions, like, we got one more, gameplay mechanic for you. I'm like, okay, cool. This is actually beneficial. I don't understand why it comes in so late, but it makes sense for the last couple of side quests and missions you have to do. I reached max level super quick. Like, I'm talking about with at least a third of the game left. So it is super quick to level up. I'm having a blast. I've done a lot, pretty much everything as I go about. It is so beautiful. Zach, where are you, sir?
For me, I've played a good bit. I am not that far into it. I have been super busy with work. So I have not got to put a ton of time into the game. Dan has finished it. I have not.
Yeah.
Zach has had time to finish it. No, I haven't. Get on from here, B.
Because I mean, I'm pretty sure, like, I'm way far ahead of you. So where are
you? I just got beta, and
okay.
Yeah, so I'm like a third in. I feel like.
Yeah. You're at least you're 30 to 40% in. So
yeah, like I feel like I'm a third in.
Yeah.
So like,
I want to ask you some stuff, but I'm like, no, we got to save it for our review.
yeah. So like I've played a good bit. Like if it was another game, like I feel like I would be like way further in.
Yeah.
But with Horizon, it's like the way it's structured and everything is, we'll talk about this more and more, but like it's a lot like most RPGs, but like you have a main quest, but you have to do all these side quests around it to like really like get through an area.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to do as many side quests as possible to get as
Yeah.
much out of the game, because with Horizon 1, I felt like once I got to a point where it's like I have to just finish this, I stopped
Mm.
doing side quests, and then I didn't understand a lot of the things like
Yeah.
later on. So a lot of the side quests definitely bring into the story and everything. I didn't finish for Frozen Wild, so when I was doing a mission and there was like a ice claw bear thing or
Oh
whatever,
yeah. Oh, there's one worse. Trust me, there's one worse.
I was like, what is this thing? And Dan was like, yeah, that was in Frozen Wild. I was like, yeah, I didn't play that.
Yeah.
I just did the main mission and everything. And Talana, like I didn't even know who Talana was. And like Aloy's like, oh, Talana. I'm like,
You
girl,
didn't
I
do
don't even know.
You didn't do the Hunter's Lodge side quest in the
No,
first
man.
one?
No, man, that stuff was
You-
boring. That stuff was boring.
Man, no, the end fight with Red Maw was good though. Like it brought it to a point.
It was just like, I'm not wasting my time on this. So I got a few
I like
questions.
that they brought her back though.
Yeah. I got a few questions, and then we'll address what the game of May is going to be. Okay.
Okay.
We haven't talked about it, but we're going to, we
Well,
sort
we
of
still
talk
got
about
one
it.
more week of April left. Don't rush it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be a video game. I'll tell you that. That's what's in the game.
I hope so.
Yeah. So what do you think about the added companions to this one? I felt like in the first game, I didn't really like connect. Like I connected to a certain point with the companions, but in this one, it feels like they are like there constantly. It's like you met Aaron in the
Yeah.
first one, and then it's like you didn't really see him until you got to Meridian, and then after
Right.
that, you didn't really see him again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, you saw Varl even less.
Yeah, exactly. And then they tried to, just be like, oh, Varl, like, nudging you. It's like, no,
Yeah.
I don't remember this dude at all.
Well, no, and I do agree with you. Like, it feels like, and it's I don't know if Guerrilla did this intentionally, but it feels like in the first game they set up, like, hey, these are going to be established characters in your universe, with the intention knowing it's like, hey, if we get a greenlit, we're going to involve them more, and that's what they did. It felt like while it's a much better game than Shadow of War, in my opinion, it's like Shadow of Mordor to Shadow of War, they just up the ante, like, times 4 or whatever with everything. Same thing with Horizon. But I think they did it much better than Shadow of War. They made your companions matter. Like in the beginning, you see like Varl's like, hey, was it cool what you did? And even Aaron's like, everyone you meet, like when you go to Chain Scrape, when you go to Barren Light, all the companions you meet from the first game are there, most of them, and they're like, why'd you leave? Like, this is not cool. And it's like, all right, you feel that emotional impact, and then your journey that you have with Aaron and Varl gets deeper and deeper, and you finally like get to that point where you're like, hey, okay, we're in this, like, no more pushing away, we're stuck with you, so through thick and thin. And it's like, okay, I feel this, it's believable, you're trying to make them matter. And then there's something that happens with one of them that I'm not going to get into. Like, it's not bad, that makes you care. Like there was a certain point, like, I have to ask you, and like it's in the intro level, did you have a feeling that they were going to do like Spider-Man 2018 when Varl's like there? It's like, because the way Varl, like, first of all, everyone gets a focus. It's like Aloy's just throwing
you
like it's candy.
You get a focus. It's like Oprah over here.
But when she gave Varl a focus, I'm like, are we about to play a section through Varl for a minute? Like, is this leading like Spider-Man where we're playing as Miles? But they didn't. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have minded, but I'm glad that they didn't do it.
Yeah. No, I didn't feel that. Like it was just like, okay, we got to catch everybody up to where Aloy is.
Yeah.
That's what I've definitely feel that they're trying to do and everything.
Yeah.
But
you do meet some new companions, I will say, in this one.
Kolto is like by far like one of my favorite companions. Like he's the Tanakh guy.
Oh, Katalo. Yeah.
Katalo, whatever.
Yeah.
Kolto.
He's a beast, man. Like
Kolto is I think I feel like that's
I don't know who you're thinking of.
I think that's Knights of the Republic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like what they did before Back to. Anyway, I go inside tell. Katalo, I like him. And I like Amy was like, I feel like him and like Aloy like have a thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Well, I mean, Aaron tried to have a thing with her too, and like
no,
even in
like,
this one, he still dances around it, but it's like,
but Katala's not trying. He's just like, I'm a warrior. And she's like, I don't know. It's not like I
yeah,
haven't got too far into it, but you know, I could definitely see them more than like Aaron. Aaron's like,
yeah.
she pretty. It's like, calm down, bro. Calm down.
Aaron is a meathead, but I love him.
Yeah. So I got a few questions real quick.
Okay,
The person who's most into her is the Sun King. Exactly, Dan. Yeah, the Sun King's
that's
like,
true. A vibe,
I
yeah.
want to marry you, and she's like, calm
Like,
down, bro.
yeah, like he comes in like right at the beginning when you go back to Meridian. It's like,
Yep.
yeah, I want you to stay with me. Like he was dancing around it in the first game, but this one he's just like, stay with me, and she's like,
Yeah.
hold on.
B says you're thinking of Balto. Yep, that too. That too.
Yeah.
Yep. How many hours have you played so far in the game?
Oh gosh, it's at least over 70. I'm sure it's probably at 80 at this point. So, because I literally have done like, all right, all the main like, and there's a lot of quests now. Some of them feel like not fetch, but feel like they aren't necessary. But
yeah,
you know, I haven't done a few of the hunting lodges, but I've got all the collectibles. I've done all the errands. I've done everything of importance in there.
Yeah.
Like there's still a few cleanup missions I've got to do, but anything of importance that, you know, is not like just oh, hey, do the hunting lodge, just go do this thing for this stripe. I've done, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And you said you were close to max level. What is the max level in this?
Oh,
game?
no. I'm at max level. I'm saying like you can hit max level super early with a lot of missions left if you go through and do a lot of stuff. But yeah, it's 50 again.
Level? 50. Okay. And one thing that I was like I was leveling up pretty fast, and
yeah,
I was like, man, this is like really easy compared to the last game. To be able to level up. And I kind of like that, where it's like you can get max level and be able to actually enjoy like playing the game and get everything. Like I'm assuming you can get every like skill and everything at max level, right?
Yeah, because they're still like, if you go through do all the missions, they still award you skill points to buy the stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's my biggest thing is like if I, hit max level, I should have max skills as well.
Yeah. Now they do give you at certain, like I think it's like after every 10 levels you hit, they give you like a good chunk of like at least 4 to 5 points when you level up to that next one. But like, yeah, doing the missions will get you more skill points as well.
Nice. So there's the game club, guys. We got one more week on game club. May's game, we've got an idea on what it's going to be. Dan had an interesting idea of having like a cooperative game for one of the months and everything. The one that we're thinking is cooperative, but it's couch co-op. They a few years back they took out online co-op, and I think they need to
they did.
I think they need to reevaluate that now that the landscape has changed and everything. But guys, we'll talk more about that next week when we choose our May game club game and talk more about Horizon next week, guys. It's going to be an awesome show. I cannot wait for it. But let's get into the gaming discussion for this week. Up first, Kingdom Hearts 4 creator spills new details on the setting of the Quadratum.
So, obviously, this would have led the show last week if we had one, but Kingdom Hearts 4 got announced. Super surprised they went ahead and announced it only 3 years after 3 dropped, but we'll probably won't see it out till PlayStation 6 at this point. But anyway, speaking in a new interview with Famitsu, Nomura-san revealed that the room that Sora wakes up in is an area of Tokyo known as Miami Aoyama. Quote, that room will be the base for the early part of the game, he commented. From each of our perspectives, our perceptions change. In the mobile game Kingdom Hearts Union, the Master of Masters said something along those lines. From Sora's perspective, Quadratum is an underworld, a fictional world that is different from reality. But from the point of view of the inhabitants of the Quadratum side, the world of Quadratum is reality, and the world where Sora and the others were is the other side, the fictional world. Elsewhere, Nomura revealed that Sora's more grounded look may be due to his appearance in the Quadratum, and that he may not look like this for the entire game. He also revealed that Donald and Goofy are, quote, looking for clues about Sora in the original world. So, looks. I've seen the trailer. It looks really good. I know it was running on Unreal Engine 4. They said it's going to run on 5 when the game comes out. So it's going to look even better. But what. Obviously, you know, we don't know too many details. Are you surprised they revealed Kingdom Hearts 4 this early after KH3? And when do you think we will realistically see it?
Okay, so that's kind of what I had two questions here for
Yeah.
it. I feel like it's super early. Square
Yeah.
is really bad about showing their hand
Yeah.
on projects at times where they show things and then it takes years upon years for it to ever actually to materialize.
Almost took a decade for Kingdom Hearts 3.
Exactly. So I think that's, you know, a misstep, to be 100% honest. Dan says Sora kind of looks too realistic, but I can see them passing it off as a certain forms on certain worlds. Yeah. So I think, you know, like how they would change in like Toy Story Land or, you know, Monsters Inc. land and everything. If he's in the, you know, what we would consider the real world and like his is like the cartoon world, like he would look more realistic and everything. But my question is to both of us, are people really wanting another Kingdom Hearts? Like, are people actually like looking forward to this? You know, from what I've seen and everything, and I was even playing Kingdom Hearts 3 and
Yeah.
kind of wrapped everything up. And I know a lot of people weren't like super excited, you know, like it didn't gel as well as like 1 and 2. But do we really want another Kingdom Hearts?
So how about this? I know the hardcore will play it regardless. Obviously, like I knew some people like it on my feed. It was about like you, it was mixed. It was like the hardcores loved it. The ones who are casuals were like, meh, whatever. I'll see it, but it's more of like a skeptical, like what we were talking about. Like when will we actually see it? How far out?
Mhm.
Now it'd be crazy because to spoil one of the quick hits, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 that got announced like last month actually moved up its release date by about 2 months. So it's earlier. So who knows? Maybe it comes out in like 3 years. Who knows? It would shock me, but I don't know because while Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 built up such a rabid fan base, 3 came out and it left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths. Like I haven't played any of the Kingdom Hearts. I've much appreciated them. Want to play them maybe down the road at some point. Haven't played it. So I don't know what turned people off, but I know it created a very much a divisive fan base over the third one. So I don't know if people want it, especially like I said, it's 3 years since Kingdom Hearts 3 dropped. So I don't know talking about it this soon is the right move. However, they did say after 3 dropped that this was the end of the first chapter or like part 1 of Kingdom Hearts saga. So they're planning this out like MCU like decades down the line to you know of plans. Now whether they can meet those plans, we'll see. But they themselves want to keep this series going as long as fans buy the game. So I don't know. Is it needed? Debatable. Are they going to do it? Yes.
And that comes to me, you know, like the development time. Like I literally have, how long do you think development is going to take? I think this is going to take a long time. I really
Yeah.
do. They're going to Unreal Engine 5, which takes time to learn to be able to execute on the level that they want to execute on this kind of game. We also saw Kingdom Hearts 3 take almost 10 years to make. So
Yeah.
the potential of that actually happening again is pretty high. They're also, isn't Square working on Forspoken?
Yeah, Forspoken. And of course, where's Final Fantasy VII Part 2?
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of things in front of this
Yeah.
before that even gets started. Dan says yes. Like when we asked, does anyone want another king? Are any people really wanting another one? He's literally just put yes. And
Again, the hardcores will, like I
yeah,
said,
yeah,
that's fine.
yeah. And he goes on, well, there was some stuff at the end leaving it open to more story, talking about Kingdom Hearts 3. So, you know, like there's a potential there, and you were talking about like this is just chapter 1. 1 through 3 was chapter 1. So do we get How many chapters are in this? Like,
Yeah.
and I think that for me, going into Kingdom Hearts 3, like I played Kingdom Hearts 1, I played Kingdom Hearts 2.
Hmm.
Okay. I played one of the mobile games for a little bit in college.
Yeah.
I didn't really get into those. But coming into Kingdom Hearts 3, I was so lost that I couldn't really enjoy, because I love story. I love story games. And
Yeah.
yes, Dan might point out that half the time I don't read half the stuff and I forget who people are at times. But like if I'm going into a game and like I don't remember anything other than that sword and that's a keyblade and there's Mickey, Donald, and Goofy, and that's about it, that's a problem. If we're going further into this, how are you going to get new fans? How are
Yeah.
you going to keep bringing people in other than like, oh, this is Kingdom Hearts, it's a really great series?
Right.
Like
With
you're
catchy
going,
tunes and Disney characters.
yeah, it's like you can go so far, but it's like, how can you keep reeling new people in with such a complex story? That the nice thing about Final Fantasy is every new entry is a pretty much a
Yeah.
reboot to whatever the story is. Like it
Right.
doesn't all connect and
That's how
everything.
15 was like a boy band trip. 16
Yeah.
feels like Witcher. Like it feels like very like monsterish and like you're a
Hmm.
monster hunter. So
So that those are my concerns. Is like, I want to play these games, I want to love these games,
yeah.
but the story is so convoluted and so hard to get into. I think, eventually, you might have your diehard, but to invest the time, the resources, and the money into developing a game like this, I think it's eventually going to become where you're not going to have enough fans and enough people buying it to really like, get the good out of it.
Yeah.
So
So we'll see. Time will tell, to bring back our catchphrase.
time will tell. And you know what? Time hasn't took anything away from World of Warcraft, Derek.
Oh yeah.
This behemoth of old is back again because we got some World of Warcraft news this week. A new expansion has been revealed called Dragonflight, and it's got some interesting stuff in there. So Derek, take it away.
Yeah. So basically, they announced it a couple days ago in a presentation. Blizzard announced the next World of Warcraft expansion, one that takes players back to Azeroth. Players will travel to the Dragon Isles, previously shrouded areas in Azeroth, 4 leveling zones, and a starter zone. Fresh compromise, 5 new areas for players to explore in this expansion, with varied environments and encounters to check out. And yes, you can now play as an all-new dragon race, the Draktar. That is actually a new class as well. These dragons can only be the Evoker class, and only the dragon race can be Evokers. This is a hero class that starts at level 58 with its own starter zone. A progression system overhaul and a look at profession systems are on deck for this rollout as well. A completely revamped talent system should offer players more versatility and options. Of note, the UI is also getting a fresh overhaul. These are a lot of significant changes to the core game, even if the new dragon class doesn't entice you. You can also ride a customizable dragon around for a speedy, powerful new traversal option. Players level up to 70 in this expansion, and also an alpha is coming soon, which you can sign up for on the official website.
So, there are a lot of stuff in here. The Evoker class,
Yeah.
it didn't say a lot in the article, so I just pulled it up. The Evoker is a new hero class arriving in WoW that uses the power of 5 dragonflights to both devastate its foes and preserve the health of its allies, making use of mail armor for defense. This class acts as it's either a healer or a ranged damage dealer. Pretty dope. Pretty dope.
Yeah.
Just being able to go between all of that and everything. I never got into WoW. I tried getting into
Yeah.
WoW. Josh Sheffer tried to get me into WoW, and I'm like, okay, I didn't really get into it. Like the story, like wasn't there. I like Knights of the Old Republic because like it actually has like casted, like, voice cast dialogue and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. That's why I liked it. But wow, it's a lot of reading text and everything, so I never got into it. But
Yeah.
to see how far WoW can keep going and people keep paying every month
Yeah.
a subscription service, and they continue to make, because they put out last October a new expansion, and now they're coming out with another one.
You sure it
This
wasn't
one,
just Burning Crusade Classic?
no, they put out a new one for, I'm pretty sure last year, or it might have been the year before that. Things kind of
Might
run
be.
together.
I know.
But no, not classic, which we'll get into that here in just a second.
Yeah.
This was main WoW. But they are turning and burning on this game compared to what it used to be, where it would be a longer time for expansions, because the world of free to play is a lot faster, and they're having to
Yeah.
compete with these free to play games. Even, like you look at Star Wars.
Yeah.
I know Brandon played the expansion that came out in February. Star Wars has been plagued with not enough content, and a lot of people dropped off because of that. WoW
Right.
has thankfully, done pretty well about that in the recent years and everything. Dan even he said Alex sent him a message early fishing for him to play WoW, and he
Makes
figured
sense.
out now that there's this expansion and everything. But Derek, does this do anything to you? Does this rope you in, Derek? Does this draw you into the webs?
No, I mean, it never has. It probably never will. Like you, I never got into WoW. Like, very was tempted, like when it was hot and heavy back in the day. I just Apex, and I was like, no, I don't want to worry about getting a computer game. That being said, I won't say I don't even want to say it's the free to play stuff that's only one factor. It's also the fact that WoW has kind of dropped off, and then like I know World of Warcraft Classic came out and did not do what people wanted to. It had issues. And let's not forget the elephant in the room, the still ongoing allegations. I know they've kind of tapered off, and I know ever since the Microsoft acquisition, they've tried to fix things and move past this, but let's not act like this is not like a magic trick, like, oh, look what's in this other hand, while you try and forget about what happened over here. So I think they're trying to move past this, and it's like, hey, we want to move past this now. We want to be known as a studio that makes games, not as a studio that mistreats people. So here's a game.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and I don't think it's just for that. Like, I know that they've probably been working on it for a hot minute. But it is one of those, they need to put stuff out there to get positive PR rolling for the company and everything. And I hope that for all the WoW people, that this is a good game. But speaking of classic, there was an update for that. So Derek, why don't you talk about that?
So a couple of side notes that they also talked about that I didn't feel like needed to be like deep discussions. But Wrath of the Lich King is coming to World of Warcraft Classic this year, and also there's been rumors ever since that that Microsoft bought Activision Blizzard that's like, oh, will we see ports of other PC games like Diablo? He says that the game director dismisses rumors of eventual console ports, at least for now. We've also, how many times we've heard, oh, this will never come, or this is not happening, this feature's not happening, and it's just was like, hey, we don't want to talk about it just yet. And then they come out later, and they do.
Yeah.
So I don't think, like, I know I threw this out there when Microsoft bought Activision, like, that was the big news topic of the day for us, so I threw that out there. I don't think in the hindsight we do see WoW console ports. I think some of the control inputs are too intuitive to try and dumb down to console buttons or controller buttons, but stranger things have happened.
It is really difficult to play an MMO on a console. I played at DC EU Online, and man, it was so difficult, and it made it not fun to play. So I don't think we'll see that. I think we'll see other Blizzard properties. Like, I think we'll see, because Diablo 3 got several console iterations through its span, and still gets updates and all that kind of stuff. So I think Diablo 4 will see that as well.
Yeah. But Wrath of the Lich King, arguably a lot of people's favorite expansion from WoW, so it's definitely a good step for them as well.
Yep. Which I still don't understand Classic. Like, isn't it just still part of the regular game? You know what I mean?
I
Like
guess just kind of like revamped for modern. I don't know. Like just touched up on the graphics. I guess I don't know.
no, I don't think it is. I think it's just like they're re-put. I have no idea. I have no idea. It's
Money
like
printer.
Derek. It's like I went to Walmart with Amy the other day, and I walked
Yeah.
through the toy aisle. I hardly ever walk through the toy aisle. Like it's like
Yeah.
once in a blue moon, and it was a blue
Yep.
moon the other day. And I saw they had Beast Wars Transformers.
Ooh.
And I was like, oh, did they, are they making new ones? It is the exact same
Wow.
toys, the exact same toys, because I had all of those. They had the same molds,
Yeah.
everything. I looked at Optimus Prime. I even took a picture of it. And I'm like, this is what they do.
So funny you bring that up because I forgot this happened, right? So when I used to work for the other place,
Yeah, the devil place.
yeah, the place that shall not be named, we got in some Power Ranger stuff, and we got in some figures, like classic figures, the ones where like you can put their human head on and then flip their
Yeah.
belt and the Ranger head. We got some in exactly the same toys I got as a kid. I'm like, where has this been? Like, where did y'all fish this up? Did y'all buy a bunch of retro stuff and just put a fresh coat of paint on it?
I don't know. These they're trying to get on nostalgia and everything, but
Yeah.
I don't know. These companies and their
Yep.
policies. Let's talk about Sony, Derek. We got into our PlayStation news this week. Sony is changing PS Plus subscription policies to avoid accidental renewals.
So the move comes following an investigation by the Competition and Markets Authority, also known as the CMA, which means Sony will now get in touch with long-term PS Plus subscribers who haven't used the service for an unspecified time to inform them on how to cancel their membership. If these users do not cancel their PS Plus subscription but continue to remain inactive, Sony won't take payments until they decide to use the service again. As a result of our investigations, a number of changes have been made across this sector to protect customers and help tackle concerns about auto-renewing subscriptions. Today's announcement, therefore, concludes our investigations into the online video gaming sector. Companies in other sectors which offer subscriptions that auto-renew should review their practices to ensure they comply with consumer protection law. I think they do this. I think they're doing this because they're getting ready to, to clean house, like put a fresh coat of paint on when this new tiered subscription service comes out. Because there have been some people that probably haven't did it, and they probably are gonna, obviously it's different tiered. I know the doc I put together for you
Yep.
did this, and that's why I hated that my computer decided to crap the bed, because there was some good PlayStation content. I actually started the doc by switching it up and doing some PlayStation news because it was so big.
Surprised.
I know. Well, it was big enough to lead the show, so I think they're doing this just to make sure like their ducks are in a row for this new change, because we know whenever PlayStation makes an online infrastructure change, doesn't always go very smoothly at first. So I'm sure they're wanting to iron out the kinks as much as possible before, so that way they're not having their customer service hotline backed up with phone calls being like, why did I get charged this, blah 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 blah.
Well, and I think like this is clearly a I'm glad that they're making the change, but this is clearly from an investigation, and it's like you need to fix this or there will be ramifications later. So I think it's more out of they're being forced to change instead of they're changing out of their own free will, because auto renewals are great until they aren't. Like that Amazon Prime renewal when you're not expecting it, and then it's just like, whoa, bam, we got you for $130. It's like, what are you talking about? It's like, yeah, we went up, sucker, and we got you $130 now, and we ain't giving it back to you. And you're just like, why are you doing this to me? That's how it works. You know what I mean? It's a pain, but at times it's like, oh yeah, like my service, I use this every day, like it just renews every month. It's great until it's not. So I don't think this really changes anything, but I think in the prep for the new tiered system, I think it's going to be a much needed thing. But continuing into the Sony news, Sony is reportedly looking at ways of integrating ads into free-to-play titles. Let's get that money, honey. That's how PlayStation rolls.
I read this and I'm like, supposedly Nintendo's trying to do it too, but it's like, man, come on. Y'all have been good for so long. Y'all been good for a while, and you
Y'all
decide
been
to
good
throw
for
it
like
in your face.
a month. Y'all been good for a
Right.
month, Sony. And then Jim Ryan's like, let's get that money.
The report goes on to explain that these ads would be intended to appear as part of the game, quote, like digital billboards in sports stadiums. This comes just days after a report from Business Insider reveals that Microsoft is exploring a similar strategy along with Nintendo. According to the Business Insider report via VGC, Sony is already testing a software program designed to let developers create their own in-game ads. It's unknown, though, if Sony will follow Microsoft's alleged path of forging a cut of ad revenue, but the report does indicate that there's a potential for Sony to charge its partners for consumer behavior data. This report also says that Sony is also looking at, quote, ads that give viewers rewards for watching ads and promotions for in-game items like avatar skins, oh lord, and an ad format that is not mentioned in the report on Microsoft. So, like, watching that, it's like Overwatch does this, right? When they have, like, new in-game events. Like, if
Yeah.
you watch on Twitch, they like, hey, you watch for this amount of hours, you get sprays, and then emotes, and then character skins for certain characters. And it's like, okay, why do I care?
Yeah. Well, and it's like games have had ads for a long time. I remember Fight Night having ads. You know,
Yeah.
sports titles have done this for a very long time, and they even talk about that. But free to play is a cesspool, a cesspool,
Yes.
because they already have a ton of issues with over monetization. They already have a ton of issues of trying to get your money in some shape, form, or fashion. Do you think this is going to be abused? And I already know the answer to that, but
Oh,
I'm going
yeah.
to ask it to you. Do you think this is going to get abused by different companies?
Oh, 1000%. EA probably saw that and it's like, oh, we're gonna lick our chops. Here, hello, not because Knockout City went free to play, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Knockout, they're gonna like, hey, Knockout City's pretty popular. Let's get that money. Rocket League, like as much goodwill as they have been doing. When they went free to play, I'm like, oh, here come the microtransaction train.
yeah.
They're gonna in on Fortnite is the biggest game, free to play game in the world. They are going to splurge the mess out of this.
Yeah, because like you already look at it, skins galore for
Yeah.
every single property. They just put out Moon Knight. I know that's one of our quick hits
Yeah.
later on, but it's like, you know, to Dan's point, he said as long as it's not shoved in your face constantly, like, you know, he's fine with it. But I feel like if we look at the tendencies of the market, if we look at
Right.
how games work and how things, they go as far as they possibly can. They're like a
hmm
kid. They push it as far as they can. They go as far as they can until, you know, like a dog chasing something
Yeah.
and they gets jerked back. You know, look at the microtransactions with, you know, FIFA and everything, and then EA being brought to court over in the EU. Like, they're going to go as far as they possibly can, and if they can
Yeah.
get ad revenue
Yeah.
from that, like, Derek, do you think we're going to see like some craziness like a Mountain Dew Baja Blast cannon in
Oh, that's another
Fortnite?
thing I thought. I was like, oh, the Tostino's pizza rolls to get a Halo skin or something like that. You know, like we're going to see that.
Yeah,
I feel it like, and it's going to start with third party, right? And it's like mentioned free to play ads. First thing that popped in my head, Ubisoft has entered the chat because they're going to be like, huh, we're going free to play. Let's do this.
you get
Anything
a
to get money for Ubisoft.
you get an NFT if you watch this commercial,
Oh,
and
good lord!
it.
Why did you can't speak? You can't say that.
Yeah, I know, but it concerns me because they have done so poorly on the monetization,
Yeah,
and you also have to think here, Derek. There are laws against targeted ads for underage children.
yeah.
What do a lot of people play? What, you know, their age bracket is going to be
Free to
that
play.
underage. So are they going to be targeted ads? You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah,
oh, well, little, you know, I already see like all of this history and all of that, or is it just going to be blanket stuff like
yeah,
Mountain Dew, you know, buys, you know, like they're always with Call of Duty. It's like,
yeah.
okay, in Call of Duty, you know, this month is the Mountain Dew double XP weekend, blah, blah,
Oh
blah.
yeah.
And everything is Mountain Dew. You get skins, like you're a walking billboard for
Yeah.
Mountain Dew.
Exactly. And you know, people could say like, "Oh, Fortnite won't do it because they make money hand over fist." I'm like, So does Amazon, and yet Amazon didn't need to do Amazon Prime because they make money hand over fist. It's like Jeff Bezos was like, I can make more money. Cool, let's do it. If people want more money, the rich get richer, and they're going to do it regardless. And what thinks about, because Sony's doing it, Microsoft is looking at it as well. I could see Sony doing it because what is also so like, I don't think they're going free to play, but what did we talk about last year that they're trying to focus into now? Multiplayer titles. And what do a lot of multiplayer games, the popular ones, are? Free to play.
Free to play. Yeah. And like, I definitely could see, they bought Bungie. They're going to try to build on that free to play model with Destiny 2, whatever they're building out from there. And then, with Microsoft, they've got Halo as free to play, and it's been suffering. Like, I'm glad that we're almost into season 2, thank the good Lord. But it's like, what happens when, Halo starts pushing this kind of stuff?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
for me, I hope not.
For me, like, it makes me feel kind of like sick to my stomach, because I know that it's not going to go well. You know what I mean? Like, I know it's not going to be something that is going to be good for the industry. It's just a money grab. And, it's one of those things. It's like, okay, is this to make up for a loss on those free to play games? Like, I think that's where a lot of it's going to come from. It's like, well, we got to make up our money, and we can do that by ads. But then it's like, well, we can make up that money by microtransactions. Well, we can make up that money by X, Y, and Z. And it's like, it becomes a horrible loop,
Yep. 1000%. So the Ouroboros we don't need.
No. But let's move on to an interesting story coming from Nolan North. He has revealed details on Amy Hennings' Uncharted 4 that we never got, including a huge role for Cutter.
Yeah, so chatting with Couch Soup during a playthrough of Uncharted 4 by Liam McIntyre and Todd Lassance, North went into detail about the original version of the action-adventure title, which saw Hennig have a lot of different ideas for the game. Quote, the biggest thing most people probably remember is, we had shot Uncharted 4 with Amy Hennig for about 7 months. We were well into the game, and she was dismissed from Naughty Dog, and they got rid of everything we did. They recast the whole thing. The original cast had Graham McTavish as Cutter, which was last seen in Drake's Deception, had a huge role in Amy's Uncharted 4. Todd Stashwick played Sam, and Alan Tudyk was Rafe, but they ended up switching it all out. Troy Baker came into it play Sam, and they added Nadine for Laura Bailey. Financially, it was nice, but that's the business. I was just glad that they didn't just scrap the whole thing and say, it's done, we're done. Which I don't think they would have said Sony would never have said at the time, their cash cow in Uncharted would have ever said, we're not doing a 4. Like, just forget the whole idea. But, it's interesting that because I'm not familiar with the other, like, I remember the name Todd Stashwick, I just can't remember what he's done. But it's interesting to see how much different the characters would have played out compared to who we got, because Laura Bailey's a powerhouse and Troy Baker's a powerhouse. Now, as you know, one of my gaming sins is I haven't played through Uncharted 4. I know you have. So I know you could speak to this. What would this have done? You think after you've played through Uncharted 4, even though we don't know what the roles would have been and how it would have differed from what we got, do you think this would have hurt it, or do you think this would have, what would this have done for you had this idea come to fruition?
Like, I enjoyed Uncharted 4, and that that kind of goes to my question that I have here as well. It would have been totally different. It would have been 100% a totally different game. I loved Sam and Drake's story. I think also in this version we would have gotten that because Alan Tudyk, which he stepped away from Uncharted 4, during all of this and all of that. But like, his character Rafi would have been an associate of Sam and Drake earlier on. So it would have been interesting to see Alan Tudyk, which is an amazing actor. From Firefly to, when he played in Star Wars, in Rogue One and everything, like so many good things. I think it would have been interesting to see him play a more serious role.
Yeah.
in there. But having Cutter, which I think is like one of the more fun characters from Uncharted 3. Like
Yeah.
he's an interesting character. He's always, like anytime he was in a scene, like he was always going to like do something interesting, make some sort of quip and everything. So I would love to see more of him, because it was like
Yeah.
they cut out like so many of the other supporting characters from the
Right.
previous games for 4. Like we got Sam, we got Chloe was
Nadine.
in, yeah, Nadine was in here, and Chloe was in the game as well. But
Yeah.
it's like the rest of it was like you didn't get much of anything else.
Yeah.
So I think it would have been interesting to see. I would love to read the like the script for
Yeah.
this version of it. And Todd Stashwick, like he's played in like 12 Monkeys, You, Me, and Dupree, The Rundown, The Air I Breathe. Like he's a pretty big, like he's not like a big actor. Like if you saw his
Yeah.
face, like you would be like, oh, okay, this guy. I think he was in. He's been in a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
He's older now, of course. But it's like having him as Sam, like I think would have, like Sam in Uncharted 4 was more kind of like Rapscallion. I think if Todd would have stayed there, he would have been a more harsh Sam. He would have been a little bit more sullen, from
Yeah.
just kind of like how he looks, how how he would work and everything. So I'm curious to see what that version would have been like. Like Troy Baker's version was great. I loved it.
Right.
It really like
He pretty
tugged
much
it.
kills any role he's in, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. Except when it's NFTs.
That was his one blemish, and he walked back from it, thank goodness. So he
Yep.
saw the light.
Yeah, exactly. But I think with this, like we got a great game regardless. You know what I mean? We could have got a really bad game, with the
Yeah.
reboot, but we got a really good game. We could have
Yeah.
got a really good game regardless, because Amy Hennig is an amazing director and writer, and
Yep.
I'm excited because we're going to talk about something with her
Yes,
in a little
sir.
bit. I literally put that. I was like, that's one of my quickies that I want to like hammer on real quick. But before we get into the quick hits, we got to do the PlayStation quickies.
So to start off, PSVR 2 Sense controllers have, quote, the potential to be the best in this current gen, says Polyarc engineer. Following that, PSVR 2 to see improved performance and lifespan thanks to eye tracking tech. The DualSense users that use it on the PC can now update the firmware without a PlayStation 5. That is big because for whatever reason you have to hook it up to the charge cable on the PS5 to update it. Next up, Oddworld Soulstorm dev says PS Plus was, quote, devastating for the game sales. Maybe make good games, because Oddworld to me has always been a niche title. It has never been a moneymaker, so they keep doing them, but whatever. Firewall Zero Hour developer is working on an unannounced PSVR 2 game. The Last of Us remake is up again for 2022, this time via PlayStation Studios' visual arts animator. There was some almost I wouldn't say controversy, but almost some big news last week that's gotten shut down. Hideo Kojima says Kojima Productions will remain independent after a mysterious tweet was sent out with updated PlayStation Studios banner that included Kojima Studio. But following that, rumored big PlayStation Studios acquisition is more significant than Kojima Productions would have been, according to Jeff Grubb. Aspire, or Asper, I forget, I've heard it 2 different ways. The creators of the Star Wars KOTOR remake has acquired Beamdog, who was responsible for the modern updates of Baldur's Gate and Planescape Torment. Predator Hunting Grounds update adds Emissary Predator DLC support. I'm surprised that game still gets support, but, good for it. New Uncharted games hinted at by Naughty Dog Recruiter. And lastly, God of War Ragnarok update to come, quote, soon, according to Corey Barlog. Corey, need you to do me a solid. Just say it's next year. Just do what Horizon did. Just come out in April of next year. 5 years to the date of when the first game came out. That way I can get my 5 guys and enjoy it lavishly.
Nah. He's gonna say, all right, the update is it's coming out September
And then
of
in July
2020.
say it's got to be delayed till April. It's fine,
Nah,
you know, like it's
nah.
fine.
PlayStation has already learned that they're not going to put a date on it unless they know they can hit it. So
Yeah,
we know it's coming out this year. I'm just saying, we know that it's coming out this year.
we'll see.
It's
I
coming
would
out
love
this
it.
year.
Granted, that's going to be the only thing I play for. You know, that's going to be our game club, that for sure.
Oh
But
yeah,
you know,
oh yeah, definitely. So I'm excited. A lot of great stuff in there. Would love some more Uncharted games. Okay, do we keep with Drake? I don't know. I love that world though. The
yeah,
exploration, the puzzle solving. I love what they do there. Let's see what they got. Like, is it Drake's kid? Is it with Sam?
yeah.
Is it with Scully? Who knows? You know,
Would you want to see a Sully prequel,
Sully.
like
I
before,
don't know where
like
Scully came from.
when he's younger, to see like his legend? Would you like to see that?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I would love that. I don't know where
it's not
Scully
played by
came
Marky
from.
Mark.
Yeah, Scully. Scully's the plane pilot that old Tom Hanks played. Landed in the
Oh yeah, you're right.
yeah. That's what, like, they kind of look the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Derek's not even paying attention, guys. He's on his phone. He's on his phone. Look at his phone. He's going to be admonished later, guys.
Okay.
Dan says it would either have to be a prequel or a sequel following his art. I would love that. I would love to see that.
Yeah.
You know, Derek, it's that time. It's that
Yes,
time.
sir.
It's time for the quick hits.
So to start off, we got some No Man's Sky news. No Man's Sky update brings Outlaws content. Following that, the dev says its new project is so ambitious that it would, quote, seem impossible even with a 1,000-person strong team, which I thought what they tried to do with No Man's Sky was ambitious. So if this one's even bigger than that one, kudos. Rumor, Dead Island 2 re-release release could happen in 2022, and a re-reveal is due this summer. Sure, at this point, get off the pot or do it. You know, I don't care. Like, I don't. This game will be. It'll come out, even if it is this year. It'll come out, probably be underwhelming, and then just fade into the ethos. QuakeCon 2022 is digital-only event and will kick off on August 18th. CD Projekt Red has delayed next-gen versions of Witcher 3 out of quarter 2 and will finish development themselves. I don't know who they outed or they, put out the third party, but apparently they were doing a terrible job. And so, like, fine. That's like Thanos at the end of Avengers 2. I'll do it myself as he grabs the Infinity Gauntlet. Cyberpunk 2077 hits 18 million sold, and CD Projekt Red reveals a major storyline is set for the new expansion, which is set to arrive in 2023. Call of Duty Warzone Pacific Season 3 update to release this month, and teases King Kong and Godzilla event. They keep getting weirder. Mass Effect 5 is now in early development, confirms BioWare. Speaking of things that are now just hitting development, talking about Kingdom Hearts 4 earlier. Dragon Age 4 character to, quote, have more personality than they ever have had in the past. EA's new Need for Speed has reportedly taken some visual inspiration from anime. That'll be interesting. Don't know if I'll play it, but I like to see at least what they take from anime. All Elite Wrestling game reportedly set to release in September. Bandai Namco appears to be working with Nintendo on an unannounced remaster. No More Heroes 3 coming to PS5, PS4, Series X and S, Xbox One, and PC this fall. Activision Blizzard says Microsoft and Bobby Kotick have not discussed his post-acquisition employment, which is very concerning. Don't need him in any kind of authoritative position anymore. Rumor, Crazy Taxi and Jet Set Radio reboots are in early development at Sega. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 release has been moved up from September to July 29th. Marvel's Avengers reveals Jane Foster, the Mighty Thor, to be next playable character for May. This comes off the heels of the Thor Love and Thunder teaser trailer they put out earlier this week. Apex Legends Unshackled event is going on now and will be the last event of Season 12. Tiny Tina's Wonderland's Coiled Captors DLC is out now. Battlefield 2042 gets limited voice chat options. Sonic Origins releasing June 23rd and will include Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and 2, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and Sonic CD. However, Sonic Origins is locking some bonus modes, animation, and music behind DLC. Great. Thought we were past that. TMNT Shredder's Revenge gets a summer release window. Amy Hennig and her studio Skydance New Media will be working with Lucasfilm on a new Star Wars game. Halo Infinite Season 2's new maps are Breaker and Catalyst. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson to executive produce the It Takes Two feature film, which will air on Amazon Prime. Got some we had a MetaQuest VR showcase. Some things from that. NFL Pro Era brings quarterback simulation to MetaQuest and PSVR 2. Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga unleashes Rogue One and Classic Characters Pack. That's not part of the MetaQuest. I just forgot to move that around. Moss Book 2 heads to MetaQuest this summer. Ghostbusters VR is bringing something strange to your virtual neighborhood. Resident Evil 4 VR's Mercenaries mode is now available. Digimon Survive gets a July 29th release date. Mutant Football League 2 announced with more mutants, modes, and mess on the field. Doomfist and Orisa are getting major reworks for the Overwatch 2 beta. Moon Knight skins have arrived in Fortnite. Shadowrun Trilogy heads to consoles June 21st. And Quake gets new accessibility options and maps 26 years after launch.
A lot of stuff in there. I got 3 takeaways.
Okay.
Mass Effect 5 is now in early development, confirms BioWare. I'm excited about that. I know we got like a teaser, like they're working on it and everything.
Shows Liara.
Yeah. I cannot wait for a new Mass Effect. I want to go back and play Andromeda and give it a fair chance. I played it when it was like super buggy and was just like, okay, I'm not going to play through this. But Mass Effect 5, can't wait for it. Hopefully they'll bring back Shepard. That's what I want from it. A good story. Bring Drew Karpyshyn back in to write this thing. Make it amazing. That's all I ask. That's all I ask. Second,
you're about a simple man.
I know, I'm a simple man. Amy Hennig and her studio Skydance New Media will be working with Lucasfilm on a new Star Wars game. She was working on one with
the Bounty
EA,
Hunter one,
and like it got canned.
Yep.
So I'm wondering, Derek, do you think that she will be able to bring that one back, or do you think it's going to be marred with like legal stuff with EA where she can't touch that one and she has to come at it a different way? And do you even think that she'll try to do that? You know what I mean? It's like, I've already passed that. Let's do something new.
So to start with the last one, I honestly think she might just be like, let's start fresh, put a new coat of paint on it, because when she left Sony, she was like, I'm hurt. This was the one I brought to the prom, and they dumped me for this hussy,
Hussy. Drunkman.
Even though he is a good person, he doesn't work. But I digress. You got to dance with the one that brought you, and so she took some time off, got out of one toxic relationship, jumped into another with EA, and that was like, no, almost went to the altar with her, decided not to.
Yeah.
So I think she wants to start fresh. She's like, I still love this universe. I still have some ideas. First one didn't pan out. But to go back to your previous questions, do we want to see this? Yes. I think she should try this again, because I think what we saw in early concept was very good. And I think, I'm not trying to say anything bad. Star Wars, like we talked about in our Book of Boba Fett weekly review, it's like Tatooine and nothing else exists. Like, you've got whole planets, you got a whole universe to dissect. Like, we saw a little bit of it in Clone Wars, like some other planets, and even in Rebels. But it's like, we don't see enough of it. Like, get off Tatooine. Get away from the Jedi storyline. Like, granted, yes, there's plenty of tales to tell, like prequel, sequel, expanded universe. Like, great. I want to see the other side. Let me see bounty hunters. Let me see some people who don't have force powers. What's their stories to be told? Like, I want to see just a little different side of it. Now, with the legal troubles, I don't think we see that, because EA signed a 10-year contract with Lucasfilm. Like, Lucasfilm is basically saying, like, we're lending you this IP and maybe some titles down the road, because Respawn, you do good work. We're going to let you have this. Yeah. Anyone else, don't touch it. So once that contract is up, they're not legally obligated to keep anything. Like, will they try to? Probably. But everything, the studio's closed. They have no rights to try and hold this hostage. So I don't think that'll be an issue.
Yeah. Yeah, because, at the end of the day, anything that's made under the Star Wars banner, ideas, whatever,
Yeah.
is owned by Disney.
Yeah, exactly. I was just gonna say, if they have an issue, Disney's just gonna like, we have more money than you. You give it. We'll just do it.
Yeah, yeah.
We can
And
do
then
this the easy way or the hard way.
I can bring you in warm, or I can bring you in cold.
Good. Yeah, there you go.
The last one, this one's concerning to me, and you even touched a little bit on it. The Activision Blizzard issue with Bobby Kotick and them not
Yeah.
discussing his post acquisition employment. Do you think that, again, Bobby Kotick, the CEO of Activision Blizzard, there's been a lot of issues around him, surrounding him, his handling of many situations. And even like if he leaves, okay, and I think he will, hopefully it will not be messy, but hopefully it will be just done.
Well, yeah.
He is going to make a ton of money.
Oh yeah. His stock
he,
options are ridiculous.
yeah, and the way his contract and everything is set up to get him out of his golden parachute is going to be expensive.
Yeah.
I wonder if Microsoft is trying to set up a chain of command that way when they go to talk to Bobby and, discuss all of this, they've already got something in place where he cannot poison pill or poison the well. I don't think a lot of people are going to listen to him at this point, further down the line, but he's still running the ship. You know what I mean? Anytime you're in a job, I know a lot of places like, oh, give your 2 weeks notice, but a lot of places it's like, okay, you've given your notice, you're done today. Like, go ahead.
No. I literally talked about this with a coworker of mine today, going over old war stories. The worst boss I ever had at the other place, he did that. Now he had some questionable character values anyway, but an employee had put their 2 weeks notice in, and instead of honoring that, he just didn't put him on the schedule for that 2 weeks. He's like, all right, cool. You're not working anymore with us. I'm like, wow. No one, I mean, granted, depending on what happens, like if it's a messy thing, they're not going to put you on there anyway. But it's like, if I'm a valued employee and I was expecting the DM at my old place to be, it's like, yeah, don't schedule him. He doesn't want to work for us and he won't take the higher up position. We don't want him. And I would have fought tooth and nail. I'm like, look, I put blood, sweat, and tears into this place. Yeah. You're not about to do me dirty. So,
I know a lot of it is like, it's like, you don't want to work here. We're going to, get you out of here as fast as possible so you don't cause a lot of damage. Bobby Kotick staying, it hasn't been purchased yet, hasn't been, approved by the government for this purchase and everything. So, there's still a chance that it might not happen.
Yeah.
So
he's holding out help.
I think they're just kind of waiting. And I think on Microsoft's end, they're probably doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes that they're not talking about because they want to have all their ducks in a row. So concerns me, but I don't think, Bobby Kotick is going to be long for the Activision Blizzard world. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
And he even said that when the announcement got officially made, like, he will go quiet. He's not gonna, like, as of that. Now, granted, times happen, and if some stuff, he probably said that to save face because of all that was happening. And quietly behind the scenes, he's probably talking with his lawyers and be like, "What can I legally do? What kind of loopholes can I jump through to still get me free reign of this place?" And I don't think Microsoft's going to come in with their bigger checkbook energy and be like, "You're done, son. Like, just take your hush money and leave." But granted, and this is why also Phil Spencer said, hey, it's not going to happen until spring of 23 that this acquisition is going to be fully rendered, because with this big purchase, a lot of paperwork has to happen legally for it to go through, and all the checks and balances. So they've got plenty of time. Bobby Kotick may have a lot of time, but so does Phil Spencer and Microsoft. So they're like, we play this waiting game a little bit better than you, sir.
Yeah, definitely. Well, guys, there is this episode of Nerd Cave News. Make sure to support us by subscribing and following us on all of the platforms that we're on. If you want to do so financially, you can go over to patreon.com/nerdcave and pick the tier that fits best for you. You can check out our podcast versions over on Apple, Spotify, Google, Stitcher, and Anchor. And I have had a wonderful time You know, there's an old song that says, I had the time of my life. And I owe it all to Murd.
Yes. The word at WERK.
Newz 5. Guys, y'all have a great night. This has been Zach.
And Murd the word.
Y'all have a blessed week. Bye.